Fantasy Break!
What's up, Brainiacs? My name is Matthew Kahan, and welcome in to another fantasy film review, a series where we're going to look at upcoming skill position draft picks for this upcoming draft, and we're going to grade them based on a fantasy football scale. So today, we're going to be looking at Texas and University of Houston wide receiver Matthew Golden. Now, before we continue, make sure to follow us on all of our social medias at Leatherbrains. We're going live Tuesday and Thursday, so definitely make sure to check those out, as well as all of our other content that we're dropping this offseason. But like I was saying, Golden's a very intriguing prospect. Last week at the Combine, he ran a 4.29 40-yard dash, which really put the world on notice, especially because Isaiah Bond, his teammate and wide receiver at Texas, came out and said that he was going to run the fastest 40-yard dash, and he comes out and runs, a tenth of a second slower than Matthew Golden. So Golden was the star of the Combine, but he comes in at a very prototypical size for an NFL wide receiver, 6 feet. Some people might say 5'11", coming in at 200 pounds. To only 21 years old, he only played 3 years in college. Looking at his college career, though, definitely wasn't the best compared to some of the other prospects we're going to be looking at in the series. In the 2022 and 2023 season, he did not have a good year at the University of Houston, averaged about 38 receptions, I'd say about 500 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns in both those years. Most notably, his average yards per reception his freshman year was 15.4, and his second year, it was only 10.7. So he had a big drop from his freshman to sophomore year, and there wasn't really an injury, at least on paper, that was showing why he kind of declined a lot, but it was definitely a little concerning going into his junior year. But then he transfers over to Texas and has a career year, which obviously sets him up to be a high draft pick this year. 58 receptions, 987 yards, an average yards per reception of 17.0, and 9 touchdowns. Obviously, he had some huge plays in the college football playoff against teams like Ohio State and Arizona State, where, he helped Texas make it farther than a lot of other teams in that college football playoff. Looking at his injury history, like I said, he didn't have many injuries. He had a small ankle injury this past year against Ohio State, and then one against Kentucky earlier this year. But never any torn ACLs or long-standing injuries that we should be worried about going into his career. This guy's always been a stud of a prospect. In high school, he was an all-state player, and that transferred all the way to college, even though he went to kind of a smaller school at the University of Houston, but eventually made his way to Texas. And at the beginning of the offseason, around January, a lot of people would have said that this guy was wide receiver 5 to 8 in this class, or, 4 to 8, whatever you want to say. Now he's in contention for wide receiver 1 with Tet McMillan, and it's looking like some teams might have him over Tet McMillan because he's running in the 4.2s for a 40-yard dash, and we've seen in past years, guys like Henry Ruggs going over CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy, Jameson Williams going extremely high when he was there. And teams in the NFL like speed. We've seen what guys like Tyreek Hill can do, and a lot of teams are trying to replicate that and give the defense a reason to, not bring everybody up in the box. But like we talked about, we're going to be reviewing 2 games of him today. Unfortunately, they did not have his playoff games, but we're going to be reviewing his both regular season games against Florida and against Kentucky. Didn't do anything crazy in these games. We're going to start off with the Florida game. He had 6 catches for 87 yards. We're going to see what we can see out of him, and grade him as a prospect depending on these other receivers. I'm very curious to see where he lines up. I've seen his highlights. I've seen the plays he can make, but looking at him on more of an all 22 perspective, I'm curious what we're going to see. So let's get this going. All right, catching a screen pass on the outside, little quick cut. Okay, I like that first play right here. So we have a screen pass out to Golden, going to the right side. Blockers are set up very well. Makes a little cut upfield, and then he makes a little cut. You see this defender right here. He's coming at him one-on-one. He's kind of in a thin space in between these 2 blockers, and he makes a very sharp cut right to the left here, which gains him an extra couple yards. You'll see it here. It's very quick, very sudden, but if he can make those little cuts there, over and over, it's going to be very tough to stop him in the NFL. Ooh, is he getting this ball? No, he's not. But really good route concept here. Really good release point is actually what I'm looking at here. So if you can see him at the top, the corner's pressing him, but he's not pressing him that hard. He's not directly on him. And you can see one of the biggest reasons I loved Brian Thomas last year coming out of the draft was his lightning quick release, the ability to, get off the line quick and to create separation without getting, jammed at the line of scrimmage by the opposing cornerback. So you can see Golden takes a couple steps and then he cuts it, not really in, but cuts in and then gets here. Look how much separation is already between him and this corner. Now, this safety right here is covering the middle, so he's not going to be open. But imagine if this is just a man to man play. Golden's going to be wide open on this play. And with his speed, this is most likely a touchdown if everything goes to plan. Obviously, he doesn't get the ball here. He is relatively open, but Ewers gets the ball over to the tight end and looks like he gets about 20 yards. Here he is, right side. I'm curious how he is as a run blocker. Don't really know much. Hmm. Okay, I wouldn't say this is a concerning factor, just something that is a little poor to see out of some players. I saw it out of Xavier Worthy weirdly last year, which is funny just because he was also at Texas. And it's just like these half-ass routes, even though the ball is not supposed to be going to him, like he just is like jogging that entire time on Cormani McLean. So not exactly my favorite thing right there, but it is what it is. He knew the ball wasn't going to him. That's not gonna, affect his draft stock much. Another run play. His size is just unbelievable. Like he looks like, tall, but also not too skinny. Kind of gets jammed at the line here, a very basic route, nothing special. Ooh, I think that was Bond over there. He just broke that corner. These are some brutal throws from Quinn Ewers right now. I'm not gonna lie. I would be shocked if he went very high in the draft. A lot of these route concepts, to be honest, he's not being put on great routes. These are kind of poor zone beaters, you might say. And he's trying to do double moves, which is just never going to work when the corner's never going to bite on it. It's a confusing play, but that worked really well. I would have loved to see them do that with Golden, but Bond's off to the races there, gets about 60 yards. Coming in motion. And it looks like he is primarily an outside receiver. So I think he could play the slot, but he definitely can fit on the outside with his speed and intangibles. Oh, and there he goes. Now, I'll be honest, this is nothing special. I mean, this is one of the most popular route concepts in the NFL. This is a Sean McVay classic where, you get one guy running up a streak, and then you get here. Actually, let's rewind this a little bit. You get one guy running up on a streak in the slot. So we're going to have the receiver here, number 5, going to go up this way. Running back's going to come out. This guy right here is going to get dragged down to the running back, and then he's going to leak out Golden over here. And this is wide open. Florida is not able to defend this very well. Got 2 guys on number 5, and he's wide open. Nothing special there. I mean, 40-yard touchdown, but that's wide open. That's any receiver out there is going to make that play. But hey, he still got a touchdown. Kind of gets clamped up right here. Cornerback is step for step with him. Doesn't really for 4.29 and also really good acceleration. He doesn't really have any steps on him. Now he's not going to get separation on every single play, but you know, if you have a guy that has 4.29, you got to have confidence that you're going to be able to run him on a streak and that he's going to be able to get separation at least 2 steps. And if you have a quarterback like a prime Aaron Rodgers, or I know that's the top of the top, but somebody that can throw a really prolific deep ball, he is going to be really good in that offense. Just not a great route though. And I besides McLean, I don't really know many of the Florida cornerbacks. They weren't very good this year, so I don't think he should really be getting clamped up very much. Little hitch route. His stop and go is very quick, which I do like. Cornerbacks are reading his routes though very, very well. I'm not as impressed with the route running so far. The release is there, but it's the route running itself has not been. It seems like they kind of know what he's doing. Like I don't know. I can't tell if that's his twitch or he's tipping off the corners in some way, but just doesn't look like he's really getting much separation on these routes. And again, he could be used very differently. Ooh. I don't know if that was Wisner or Blue, but taking that all the way to the house. Screen pass. Okay, so this is where I do think he has a lot of potential being used in the NFL, very similar to a wide receiver like Stephon Diggs when he was a lot younger. Kind of a skinny, not small though, receiver with some speed and a good release point. He's going to be able to catch this screen pass. And the hope is in the NFL that he's going to be able to, make this man miss in a one-on-one situation. And then he could get you an extra 25 yards with his speed and agility. There's not that much space on this side of the field. Number 7 does have a pretty good angle on him. Not really much he could do. Maybe cut inside and try to get behind these 2 offensive linemen. And then he might have been able to have a big play, but gets a couple yards there. I do think in the NFL he will be used heavily in the screen game. So obviously in a PPR league, that does bode very well for him. Jesus, the running backs are just going off in this game. They're the ones that are impressing more. Okay. This is also another play where I do think that he could have a lot of success in the NFL. We'll get to the start of the play. In these man-on-man situations where he's going to be running a drag route. We see this all the time in the NFL. They usually do this with their best playmakers, get them in space, especially on a 3rd and 5, 4th and 4, whatever it might be, a short yardage situation. You're hoping that Golden can release quickly and then beat this corner across the field. Now, this is man to man. Again, Golden's going to, be free if he gets the ball. Ewers misses him, quick release, and he gets this way. And he has a decent amount of steps on him. That play is going to be basically unguardable in that regard. There's no way that anything's going to happen. Ooh, is that him? Hold on. All right, he's in the slot right here. Wow, that is him. Again, though, this is just like good body control. I mean, he shifts his body. That's a back shoulder ball. But again, this is a play that I do believe majority of players in the NFL or college players are going to make. This is a really nice throw. It could be on the inside, but I think Ewers is a little bit worried about this safety laying a hit. And you have this corner on the inside as well. So very nicely placed ball on the outside. And Golden gets both feet in. Obviously, he falls on the ground and gets the touchdown. Now, on that route concept, he basically just ran straight. There was nothing special about that route, but again, with a guy who has 4.29 speed, those types of plays are going to happen. Not a great block right there from Golden. Kind of let the guy get right past him. I mean, his blocking looks mediocre at best. I don't think it's anything crazy, but I guess not concerning enough, for a lot of NFL teams. Whew, Isaiah Bond taking that to the house right there. And again, Florida wasn't a great team, so I think they were up in this game by a lot, is what it seems like. So I know, and that's probably the case for a lot of teams with Texas. They're just going to be up by a lot. They're going to rely on their running back duo with Wisner and Blue, and it's not going to garner as much attention. Wow. So Ewers throws in triple coverage over Golden here, who is pretty much wide open. So this is another concept that I really think Golden can succeed in. I really did want Seattle to draft him at 18. I thought that was a perfect fit. Now they did just bring in Cooper Kupp, which doesn't necessarily mean that they can't take a receiver, considering they now have 2 kind of pure slot possession zone beater receivers, whereas Golden profiles more as a speedster man beater. So I do think they could still take a receiver like Golden, but this is the exact type of scheme where Kubiak would run this in Seattle. A bunch of other guys like Miami, the Rams, all of these teams run this scheme. Got a little play action, comes over the middle. This is just so hard to guard when he comes to the inside and then cuts in. He has so much separation here. I know he just stopped the route because Ewers obviously threw, but if Ewers puts his ball in stride, Golden has so much space, and these guys aren't even paying attention. With Golden's speed, he could most likely cut back. And again, we're not going to see any crazy plays. I know if you want to see his highlights, definitely go watch that on your own time, and you'll see he makes a lot of huge plays, but we really are looking for the more individual play by play to see what will actually translate to the NFL. Another run to the inside. His route running to the inside looks great. I haven't seen him run one route to the outside, which is interesting. But that's the entire game against Florida. I wouldn't say there was really anything too impressive. He had 2 touchdowns that one of them was wide open. One of them was just kind of beat the guys deep. I really didn't see anything crazy yet. I haven't seen any specific plays where I'm like, his hands look great, his hands don't look great. I'm hoping we'll see a little bit more in this Kentucky game. So let's see that. Here we go. We're on the Kentucky film. So in this game, he actually didn't have any touchdowns, but he had about 6 catches for 87 yards. We should see a little bit more action for him this game. Let's see how he does against Kentucky, who again, a solid SEC team, but they're not anything special. It's not like playing Georgia. It's not like playing Ohio State. This it's a solid game, but nothing crazy. Okay, little stop and go. Now I did like this route because he did stop very quickly, but this corner is reading it the entire time. He can see that Golden's gonna make this stop, and it is a little concerning that some of these corners are able to read his route running so much, considering he runs a 4.29. I'd be expecting you if you're a corner, the last thing you want to do is get burnt. You are always, especially with somebody who you know is insanely fast and you might not have that safety help, your number one priority is to not let them catch a deep ball and just run over you. He looks like he's playing the inside and he just reads this route pretty well. Wasn't a bad comeback from Golden, but again, like the separation just wasn't there on that play. Okay. Okay. Very solid play. I like this a lot right here. Little curl route, a very common route in the NFL. Ewers puts a great ball on the outside, catches it, and then gets a few extra yards for a pretty solid 15-yard gain. Now, that's a very prototypical NFL play. It's one of the first I've seen in this video where they actually are putting him on a good route concept, and Ewers delivers the ball on time. So, definitely what we like to see. This is the exact type of play that Golden will be great at in the league. This is the Odell kind of slant pattern right here, and you make one move and you can take it to the house. We saw him do this against ASU, but they're playing really soft coverage over him. We have one safety high. Linebackers are very close to the line of scrimmage. They're most likely expecting a run here or just like a little shovel pass to the tight end. Fake it. They kind of all fall for it right here. So this leaves Golden wide open. Now, this corner has zero chance. He has zero chance of covering this play right here, even though he's the guy that's going to be covering it. Golden's wide open. Now, what you hope is when he catches it, that he can get through this little angle and then take it with his speed all the way to the house. Now, the safety makes a good play. There's nothing that really Golden can do. The linebacker also is coming from behind, but if he has a little bit more space, I do believe he can take that to the house in the league. Keep clicking that right click. Couple runs. Golden does not really engage in the contact right there. Yeah. All right. Very nice play right here. This is where the after the catch ability shows. Now they are just playing so far off him right now. So again, like I don't know if this is what teams are going to do in the NFL, but if you're running man and you're playing that far off him, this is the a perfect play for Golden to succeed. Gets right to him. Now he did have a drop problem earlier, his earlier years in college. His hands look very clean, and there is a difference between having good hands and having great hands. And the difference is that having good hands means that you're going to come down with a lot of catches, but you might not be able to make that big of a play after you catch it because you're so focused on it. Guys like Jamar Chase, they're just assuming the ball. They put their hands there and they catch it so quickly and they're able to get into their break, get into the after the catch ability so quickly. And even that small amount of milliseconds in between that and somebody who's just good is the difference of being a good and a great receiver in the NFL. And what I like about this play is that Golden, he catches it very smoothly with his hands and he makes a cut right to the outside, gets an extra 15 yards or so. Great play right here. Really showcasing the after the catch ability and the vision as well to be able to get to the outside. Good play right there. Another run play. Again, he didn't have that crazy of a season. Like he doesn't have that many crazy games. Ooh, you got to score that one. Kinda gets clamped up right here on the slant play. Nothing crazy. I mean, it's just like a little bit of a lazy route. Like he's just like as a corner that he's going one of two ways. He's either going this way or this way. You could go up realistically, but it's very easy for the corner to kind of jump that. That's just a lazy route. Now he did trip a little bit, and you could say this is a little bit of a holding as well, but that's never getting called. This is just a bad route. And they still gave him the ball, but nice play by the corner right there. Would have been cool to see him come down with that contested catch, but he did not do that. Ugh, another lazy route right here. Good throw by Ewers, but another lazy route. This is just like what I don't understand is that on this play, there's no way that Golden can assume he's not getting the ball. Like, I don't know what this is right here. He's right here. Just watch this. Like, he's just like jogging across the field. I just don't understand. It's just the simplicity of running every route at 100%. Little out route, catch. Again, these are really nice, like, PPR plays, like, "Oh, get him over the middle." Ugh. Alright, we got a drop right here. So another one of these slant plays, Ewers gets hit. Now, this ball does look a little high. Can't tell that closely, but on this play, you have very little room for error. You have such little room because you have the safety behind. We saw this is a very common play also in the 49ers playbook. If you overthrow this at quarterback or you drop it, there is most likely going to be a guy on this side, and behind. So any tip up is most likely going to be an interception unless it like is this and then, hits the ground very closely. But you've got to come down with that. I haven't seen any crazy spectacular catchability yet out of Golden. His hands do look very natural and very clean. Obviously, that's one drop, but I haven't seen the kind of his radius being anything special. Another inside route here. It's just, he just isn't like the potential is there. I'm just not seeing it on the film as much as some other people might like. Okay. So this is exactly what I was just talking about. Screen pass. Now, this is a very clean play because number 5 right here lays a great block. There's no defender in sight here. You have Kelvin Banks coming up, but Golden catches it very cleanly, and then he comes, ton of space right here, and just attacks it. Again, this is just a simple play where it's the amount of time it takes you from when you catch it and then you get into your after the catch. It's very quick for him, and then he gets, about 15 yards on that play, does about everything he can. Those are the types of plays where I do think he could do very well in the NFL because he can just accelerate so quickly. I will say I was way more impressed with Xavier Worthy's film last year than I am with Golden right now. Okay. That was a pretty nice play. This one is like, look at this. He hits this out route. If Ewers drops this ball right on the outside, that's an easy 20-yard catch. Now, the play obviously wasn't designed for that, but that's a really nice play. Coming over here, another screen pass opportunity. It's just the more you watch this college film, the more you realize that these playbooks are just very simple. Like, there are just so many of the same route concepts. Mm. Another run play. Got Jaden Blue scoring the touchdown. Mm. Good play. Good anticipation route here by Ewers. You have Golden coming over the middle. He's going to be right here. Gets some separation from the linebacker in his zone scheme. Catches it very cleanly, and then off to the races. Now, again, those are the types of plays that we're looking for. And I have been impressed with the ability that he can be used in all 3 levels of the field. He can be used in the screen game, he can be used in the intermediate pass game over the middle, and he has the obvious deep ball. So I do like that he is a complete receiver and there's not an aspect that he can't do, which makes it very intriguing considering the potential that comes with him. Hmm. Another blocking play for him right here. Again, he looks like an average blocker, nothing too crazy. Another lazy route right there. Great throw though by Ewers. I just wish they would put, Golden on a little bit more kind of backbreaking routes where he gets a chance to shine his route running ability. Now this play right here, you could see the separation that he gets. This is so hard to defend with his speed. Gets to the outside. Like, look at number one. He has no chance here. Now, there's usually going to be a safety, but if there's not, this is an easy 40-yard touchdown right here. So much open space right there. It's going to be hard to rank him. Like, I just don't know. Obviously, I haven't scouted. He's the first receiver I've scouted, so we'll see where he ends up on my rankings. But as of right now, I don't know if I like him more than guys like Luther Burden, Tet McMillan. I think him and Abuka are going to be close. He's definitely up there. He's in that tier. I just don't know how he could be the clear one in anybody's eyes. Not saying he is, but ew, that is an awful play right there. There's just kind of a lack of consistency on these plays from Golden. Like, it's just like he doesn't have good reps consistently. Okay. Another run play right there. So much space on the outside. Just a go route right there turns into a fumble 6. I mean, this is just like I don't know what this route is. They're playing so far off him, so it's kind of hard for him to do anything. But I don't know. Just seems like he could be doing more on that play. Screen pass. You do a lot of design motion with him, so they obviously, it's because teams fear him, and so you want to get him involved, and act like you're going to. Got a free play right here. Texas does run a very nice scheme. Like, that is a cool play. Like, they have a lot of these plays where it's a lot of misdirection, a lot of different people moving around. It's a confusing offense to understand. Wisner, another great run. I mean, I've just been way more impressed with the running backs in this film review than I am with Golden and Isaiah Bond, even though we're not watching his film, but just what I've seen so far. Missed the block right here. It's just like these simple plays. Like, I know it's a tough play and number 81 bails him out, but you got to be getting to your zone there quicker. The goal line right here goes inside, gets a little bit of separation, but again, nothing crazy. Okay, so that'll end off this film review. I mean, looking at Matt Golden, I'm really not that impressed. I think that he has a ton of potential. Like I said, he can be a receiver that is great at all three levels of the field. It's the screen game, intermediate game, and deep passing game. He can be elite at any of those. It's just, will he? I am seeing a huge lack of consistency, not only from his effort, but also from his production. He never had more than 987 yards in a season, and that was an extended season. So the production is not there. The consistency is not there, but the potential is off the charts. And I think that's what's going to really raise his draft stock. And I think if you're looking for a receiver in this class that is the most boom or bust, Golden, if he puts it all together and lands in a good situation, could easily be the number one receiver in this class, but he also could come in and not be that great and be wide receiver 5 or 6 in the class. So there is a lot of risk to him. I think Seattle is a very good landing spot for him. I think Denver would also be a great landing spot for him, getting him as the speedy guy on the opposite side of Cortland Sutton, who profiles more as a big body frame, kind of contested catch player. Golden has very natural hands. However, he didn't really show any spectacular catch or contested catch ability, which is a little bit concerning. I'll definitely watch a little bit more of him, and this is obviously only 2 games of him, but I would personally rank him right now as a late first round NFL receiver, early second round guy, and then in fantasy again. Like I said, I think that depending on where he goes in the draft and what team he gets drafted to is going to depend a ton on his value. Obviously, also in comparison to these other guys, these other receivers that are going to be getting drafted and their situations. But I do like Matthew Golden. I think that the hype is real, but there are a lot of flaws to his game that if you only go out there and watch the highlights, you're not going to be able to see. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed this film review. Again, follow all of our socials at Leatherbrains on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and X. And we'll see you next time for another fantasy film review. We are going to be covering Caleb Johnson in the next one, running back out of Iowa. So we hope everybody enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
3, 2, 1.
Got a blast!
Thanks for checking out the Fantasy Brains. Don't miss next week's episode, Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. See you next week, Brainiacs.